Hi, welcome. In this video, I want to take a moment to respond to a response that I received on one of my service dog training videos with Milo at the Walmart, and the recommendation from an individual regarding using a prong collar to assist in terms of training. Now, here's the thing. This person who left this comment, they weren't, being confrontational or nasty or anything like that. But here's the thing. When I talk about, again, I encourage people to really watch that video as I'm talking about what I'm doing. And this goes into this whole issue about getting a dog to truly relax, and the issue about the role of influence, okay, in terms of it being an active component as a dog is beginning to invest, okay, in terms of where you're currently standing in the relationship, their perceptions, and how to alter those perceptions. So, and this goes in this thing about devices as well. So when I talk about why I use certain devices, it's because they align a certain way, okay. So again, with influence, happening in a proactive way, and the ability to nudge, okay, to be able to, even using certain kinetic techniques I'm doing, to break the dog's point of contact, okay, to bring a dog into a state of agreeableness and relaxation. And this goes to the issue too, when you hear these trainers talk about dogs' trachea and like choking dogs, understand that when people are looking, okay, in terms of looking at a video or they're filtering things a certain way, understand that a lot of these trainers, number one, is they're following a path of bribery, okay, so they have difficulty even considering, okay, the role of influence. That's why there's so much confusion. So they look at, influence, or they look at certain interactions, they immediately think that you're choking the dog, okay? But understand, this is why I talk about the difference between, again, the dog pushing forward. This is why, again, on the video with Milo, it's a great example. I'm turning. You'll see me turning or getting the owner to turn. So that turning, that type of turning interaction, what I'm doing is right there, I'm exposing the picture, okay? Was Milo starting to focus certain ways, okay, I'm turning, and then I'm stationary, okay, at the same time. So moving forward is a problem, because then you get into that type of resistance, dogs are pushing forward. So here, I do by turning, forces the dog to turn their head. So now whatever they're trying to fixate on, now they get to turn their head, and then that's when I'm applying influence to, again, certain kinetic methods by way, again. So influence is happening through the collar, but the issue about, I talk about physiological, okay, the difference between choking a dog and the reaction that's happening, okay, with influence, how it's intercepting, and you'll see that buckling, okay, that's the moment of agreeableness, okay, breaking that point of connection. But it's not about choking dogs. Understand, that's not the focus. I mean, I put a video of a trainer in the UK, and you'll see that person, directionally with that leash up straight, and that dog it's the influence is happening in a certain moment. And if you look at, you consider what I'm saying in terms of how interactions are funneling a certain way, and bringing that dog into a level of challenge, and then you talk about choking, okay, or airway, okay, then there's certain interactions that you could identify that say, okay, but I'm not even looking at things that way anyway. I'm looking at, say, that dog's going into a high challenge. There's no way out. When I say way out, it means that in terms of, a funneling type of a interaction, that the point of agreeableness and, moving in a certain direction in terms of changing perception, making sense to the dog is what I'm saying, okay? Because it's about keeping conflict down. But not just that, okay? It's about, a very intentional methodology that makes sense to the dog. Influence is reconciled through specific interactions, applying certain kinetic principles, bring the dog into a state of relaxation, understand the physiological side of things, okay, mind and body, and the principles involved. Understand all those things layer up, okay? So when I'm doing it, say with Miles, a great example, yeah, I'm moving, I'm turning, and I'm not, that's what I mean, I want the dog to float, okay? What I'm doing is I'm bringing the dog into a level of relaxation so I can start to move faster, but by that, when I'm at that point, okay, the dog's perceptions have changed. You'll see, again, in terms of influence, and even pay attention. Even this is what gets people caught off guard. When the choke chain, because that's what I'm using, looks tight on the dog, there's just enough influence so that I can apply just enough kinetic, again, enough influence at a certain moment, at the right moment, that it causes a reaction very quickly. Okay, I'm right there. It's like two trains parallel, side by side, but I'm just edging out. But then there's release, which you may not be catching on those videos. Okay, there's always a release, because you have, again, in terms of, you know, when the dog gives, I give, but it's right there, based again on where it needs to be. Okay, based on where I'm standing in the relationship. So understand, there's like 8 layers here. And I talk about the depth of this system. Like, people will look at a video and they base it on what they're in agreement with. They base it on their idea of things. They base it on not understanding certain principles that are happening. Then they're aligned with bribery to begin with, and they go crazy because they take that level of bribery. And these dogs, then they get used those, again, the prong collar, right? I mean, that prong collar, think about the device. The dogs respond to that device. This is why, again, this is another, okay, I'm going to add on to this conversation. That's why sometimes trainers can't never get these devices off the dogs. I mean, it's like 24/7. The remote collars are on these dogs, the prong collars on these dogs, because it becomes about these collars, these devices, not about the person changing or the perceptions changing the right way by way of influence, how influence is happening with fading in, as I call it, to a level where it's a means to an end. These collars become a crutch, and then the dog will respond. You get a better position, but the perceptions aren't really changing at the level that you think. I mean, it's interesting. I had a balanced dog trainer make the statement, well, we'll use that prong collar to expedite the process, the dog's response. But think about on top of the superficial way in which these responses are generated. So using a negative, but then it becomes about that device, it doesn't line up. Then this is why the dog's stress level will come onto a dog, because it's not lining up. That makes sense. They're saying, sure, this device is on me, but I'm still in control. So I'm using certain devices a certain way to work towards a real standard, okay? Or really, the principles involved here are about connection. It's about being perceived. So everything has meaning in it. Understand, everything I'm doing, there's a reason for it. And so with a dog like Milo, yeah, a little more challenging. You see that. It's like, so, understand that through the process, he's got to be totally relaxed. And so I'll turn, you see me stopping one step, turn a lot, because, I'm going to bring him to that state. I mean, it's just part of the process. And, it takes time, but it's about getting there the right way. Understand, this is about achieving a true standard. So some dogs I work with are more challenging, some are less so, but it's all about hitting that mark. Regardless, that's just how it was. The principles involved here, they achieve that end. But here's the other layer I'll put on. When people talk about these devices like the prong collars, I recommend using those, or the remote collars. Those devices are being banned everywhere, all around the world. And then what do you do? I mean, understand, people are leaning on those devices for the wrong reasons, okay? Those devices are not lining up. And so the principles involved in this system of training is about connecting, okay, the right way, being proactive. All those themes I talk about in my videos, that's what's going to get you to where you need to go, the right way. I mean, I talk about superficial process. Well, those devices, when they are part of that process, of course, it's not going to line up. It can look really good in a certain situation. The dog could seem really, but not be. Okay, this is about achieving a certain result the right way. So, there's depth as to what I'm doing. So I'm putting in lots of video content so you can see it. But pay attention as I'm working these dogs in these videos. I'm talking about what I'm doing. But the problem here, sometimes people won't even they don't even take the time to watch or really listen or understand. It's just about, judgment, right? Based again on what their perceptions are. But the dog training world's in the state that it's in for a reason. So I want to have these conversations with people to understand, listen, here's the way to do it. This system is about depth. It's about, following the right path. So if you have questions, I encourage you, I welcome your comments. I'll answer them. But if you're going to leave nasty stuff or whatever, based again on what you're in agreement with and all the confusion, well, this isn't the place for you. Okay? I mean, I'm not interested. I'm focused on helping people that are truly looking for answers. That's what makes it enjoyable. Those who are sold out to something else, that system, that methodology, that process, well, a lot of these people are turned over to that stuff, and there's no way out. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. Their identity is linked into that stuff. So this is about, again, following the right path. I'm here to help people the right way. Service dogs truly hitting that mark. Thanks for watching.